being a bad sheriff morally does not make you guilty of misconduct in office or statutory violation. Analyze these facts and just keep asking yourself, is there a real possibility that what Will Lewis said on the stand is the correct factual scenario of what happened in this incident? And I think the facts will bear it out that it is. People who are raped don't blog. They don't send out press announcements. And they don't ignore reporting it to the police. So, when you analyze the facts in this case, I think you'll find the proper verdict is not guilty.
Thank you. When I first stood up, what did I say? I said, I'm not going to be cool, I promise. I'm not going to stand up here and just belabor this guilt a little. I know y'all are ready to get back there and start working on your job and doing your duty, which I know you will do honestly, and you will do fair and justly, and you will not do it in the manner that he did his. But I do need to make a few points. First, what did I say when I first stood up? I said, this is not a rape case. This is a misconduct case. I don't know why Mr. Wise spent the bulk of his time talking about whether or not it was consensual or whether it wasn't consensual. Did she act like she'd been raped? He's not on trial for rape, okay? This is a misconduct in office case. That's the most important thing you need to remember. We'll go back and talk a little bit about Savannah and the business in Charlotte, but just for a minute, I want you to focus on the misconduct. He said, our theory is that he hired her for the purpose of doing all this. And that is our theory. But we don't have to prove all of that. All we have to do is prove that at some point he became corrupt. Right? At some point. He could have hired her for a completely legitimate purpose. It could have been completely legitimate all the way up to the minute that he got to the part where he said, hey, you want to go have sex in Reno? We'll fly out there and have a big old time. We don't have to do anything. We're just going to lay around and drink beer on the company dime and have sex. Want to do that? And the minute he did that, sincerely attempting to get her to go do that with public money, whether he was successful or not is immaterial. It's not like in order to be corrupt, you have to actually do something corrupt and then succeed at it. You know what he intended to do because you heard him say what he intended to do. The minute he did that, he was guilty. And he sat right here and said, I was trying to get her to go to Reno because I wanted to have sex with her with public money. I was trying to further an adulterous affair. That's what he said yesterday. Today, all you say, it sure sounds like that. It sounds like it because that's what he was trying to do. The minute you find that, he's guilty. He's done. Your job is done. He did what that indictment says he did. Now the other stuff, he did that too. He did use his authority to intimidate the employees there to prevent them from associating freely like every American's entitled to do. He did do those other things. He did sexually harass her, which is not following the law, which he's required to do because part of his duties, as the judge will tell you, is as a police officer. It is inherent in your job as a police officer to follow the laws. All the laws, not just some of the laws, not just the criminal laws, but all the laws, including the employment laws, which say you can't say to a woman, if you don't have sex with me, I'm going to make your job miserable. I'm going to take away all the fun part, and I'm going to make you go down to the file room again. Sorry, sweetie, that's the way it works. You can't do that. That's illegal. And when you're the sheriff and you do that, it's misconduct. And that's what he did. Again, you don't have to believe Savannah Neighbors in order to find that. All you have to do is believe your own ears. What else is there to discuss? Just listen to the tape. You heard it. I want to roll around with you on the public, on the company dime. There is some circumstantial evidence in this case, but the bulk of it, the most damning evidence, is direct evidence. Circumstantial evidence is what I said when I said what he did, where you look at what somebody does and you deduce what their intention is. Direct evidence is evidence where you actually see them doing or saying what they intend to do, like he did on the tapes. Those recordings are direct evidence of his guilt. There's nothing circumstantial about, I want to take you to Reno and roll around on company time. There's nothing, there's no mystery, there's no Sherlock Holmes deductions that you have to make about what his intentions were. He said what his intentions were. Did you notice I told you Will Lewis, he only did the press conference after the recordings came out? You got to see a version of that play out with Sidney Salati. Because, you remember Sidney Salati? No. You remember the Tennessee Beauty? There was no Tennessee Beauty. I don't remember that. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, you don't remember anybody from Tennessee. I don't know anybody from Tennessee. I don't have any phone numbers on my phone from Tennessee. I don't know what you're talking about. All that Tennessee stuff, that's just a big old fat lie. We kept asking him. Willie asked him again. When did he finally give it up? When we stuck the text messages in his face. And what did he do? You mean that girl? Okay, yeah, I can't find her picture, but you've seen it. Now I remember, all of a sudden it became clear to him. Now I know who you're talking about. Everybody's lying but Will. The whole world is lying on Will. Everybody's making all this stuff up, but not Will. He's the one telling the truth. And because he did spend some time talking about Savannah and her credibility, I will once again remind you to recall yourself what you saw happen right there and ask yourself, is that real? Was that real what I just saw? Is there any doubt? Can there be any doubt what that girl was going through as she was relating to you what that man did to her? And yes, she did not act like there was anything wrong the next day. We brought that out of our witnesses. And why did that? Why did she say that? Because she didn't remember what happened. That's why she didn't go down. She was sick. She didn't remember what took place. She said, I blamed myself. I didn't know what happened. I couldn't process it. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm not attracted to this guy, but then I wake up and he's on top of me and in me, and I don't know. I thought it was something that I did. That's not uncommon. That's why she was not down there, and that's why she didn't run downstairs. If she had gone back to the bar because she forgot her phone and ran down the street, and on the way back by herself, some guy jumped out of an alley and hit her over the head and dragged her into the bushes and raped her, and she didn't say anything, might have been shame still. Because some women don't report just because they're embarrassed and they don't want to do that. But there would have been no mystery about what happened then. But this is a man she knew and trusted, a big brother, like a father figure to her. Somebody she didn't have any sexual interest in, but then all of a sudden she wakes up in a haze and he's on top of her and she's trying to figure it out. And over the next 5 weeks she did, because he kept pursuing me, tried to kiss her on the way back from the Palmetto Ale House event. And then it starts coming in, and then the Reno thing happens. And that was the end, right there, when he says, you want to go to Reno? And he tries to get her to go there. That's when it starts like dawning on her little young 22-year-old naive self. Oh my God. I'm not to blame for what happened in Charlotte. This guy is just, he's a monster. He won't leave me alone. He's stalking me. I'm trying to avoid him. Look at the text. Go by my neighbor, we'll let you in to pick up the pressure washer. Yeah, I'm right behind you. I'm at the Chick-fil-A here. And she looks up and there he is at a Chick-fil-A 20 minutes from her house in Spartanburg, miles from where he lives. And she freaked out. That's why she started reporting. If this had been to set up a lawsuit, She'd had a video camera set up in the hotel room in Charlotte. She'd have started recording a long time before that. It wasn't to set up a lawsuit. It was only after he started stalking her and she realized this guy is sick. He's a monster. And she became scared and her sister said, you need to start protecting yourself. Hit the record button. That's why she started recording. That's when she realized this isn't right, something's wrong. This is just unhealthy, this is unnatural. And 6 days later, she walked in and resigned and left and never looked back. And yes, she went and hired a lawyer and she talked to him about a lawsuit. And you know what? She should have. She should have. He deserved to get sued. He brought that on himself and the county and the state. That was his fault. Like she did something wrong for suing. That's what you do when somebody does something like that to you. You have a right too. She has rights in civil court, and she had a right to pursue him because that man abused her, took advantage of her, emotionally manipulated her, and he is a monster. And he deserves to be convicted.